Hello friends, it's Julie, and today we are doing the first ever on my channel antique booth what sold. So this will be what sold for for May, because I usually get my check and everything on about the 10th, after the 10th of the month. Then it takes me a little time to go through this. So we're going to do it kind of mid to late month. All right, so I have two antique booths in the same mall. It's Marketplace 3301 in Billings, Montana. If you're ever in town, check it out. It's downtown. My rent is $2.95 between the two booths per month. Yes, it seems like a lot. I mentioned in the previous video that there's benefits to both, and I actually do sell larger volumes of things than I do with postcards. So anyways, let's get to it, and I'm going to first tell you the breakdowns of the my staple items, and I didn't say how many of each, but just the total amount that I sold for that, from lowest to highest accumulation. So for the first one is cookbooks, and I like to source cookbooks, local ones like the family and friends of businesses where they make their own, the unique ones. So sell them for $4.95. So I sold one for $4.95. The next is sheet music. So I sold $5 in sheet music. And then I had a bunch of lace that I bundled up, and they used to sell out, and I kind of moved them around, and then somebody came along and bought $5.50 worth of them. Then there are envelopes. Now these are empty envelopes. They are old. They just have stamps on them. I figured just for ephemera people. They've been sitting around for a while. They're actually from the Sadie Schwartz thing. So if you remember that story, and that is $9.90 worth of empty envelopes. And then photos, so including the loose photos. I started to put in packs of photos, so I sold $9.95. Ephemera, just general ephemera, was $10. Greeting cards, I think there was two that sold, and that was for a total of $10. Railroad timetables, this is something that I've had in my booth for a while, and I finally sold a few for $14.85. Magazines, I have several kinds of magazines. I have some old vintage Time, and I've got some Montana ones. So I sold $19.80 worth. Jewelry box. So this is the mystery jewelry boxes. I've started to take all my jewelry and just put three to five pieces in a box or bag and sell it for, I think it's like $5. So people have been liking that, and that's new this month. So I sold $19.80 worth of those, and that only came in mid-month. So I'm guessing that will increase. Stickers. I source these stickers on Amazon, and they cost between 8 and 10 cents each. I know there's a lot of theft with them, but I sell them for $1 each, and it's a great thing to pick up for kids, for tourists. And I truly try to get the vintage themed ones, and I sold $25 worth of those. Flowers. At a recent estate sale, I picked up a whole bunch of flowers. I think they were 50 cents a stem, and I've been selling between $1 and $5 a stem. And that was mid to late month, and I sold $29.60 worth. So I'm going to be looking for more flowers. Records. All of the records I have, almost all, are under $5. I don't really care if I have one that's worth $50 and I'm selling for $5, because I don't want to ship it. I don't want to worry about it. Just let somebody else get the profit. I kind of feel about a lot of stuff in the booth. So I sold $34.65. So if you want to source some records, go ahead and go to my booth, because I don't price anything for over $5, and I think it's fun for people to visit. It draws people in. Postcards. I sold $45 worth of postcards, and that was interesting that it was the fourth highest category of my staples. And I have a bunch more to add, and I'm thinking about lowering it from $2 a postcard to $1, because when I go sourcing, I don't really like to spend $2 on a postcard unless I really like it. So we'll see. And they're just postcards that I don't want to sell on eBay for one reason or another. Okay, so now we have 3 more categories left. So the third from the top is single pieces of jewelry. I hadn't realized that this was how much I sold, but $56.85. And I don't usually pay more than $1 or $2 per piece, and often less because I'll get them in bags. So I thought that was interesting. And books. So this includes my blind date with a book and any other kind of books. I just put them all together because sometimes I don't know. And that came to $62.75. And the first highest category of my staple items in my booth is yarn. I've been a knitter for a long time. I've got a hoard stash, and I've been selling them like like $4 each, 3 for 10. Because with arthritis now, I just can't get to all of it anymore. I just want someone else to enjoy it before they're outdated. And that came to $105.85. I didn't realize I was selling that much yarn, so I'm going to find some more and put some more in. Okay, so it's an antique booth, but there's a lot of vintage there. There's crafters. It's not really just antique. It's vintage, it's handmade. So I know there's a few things on here that aren't really what you would think would be in an antique store. But I think that the state of antiques today is a lot different than it used to be. So, okay, let's go through some other items that I sold, and if I have photos, they'll be going up. First is a leather chair that went for $300. Now, don't get too excited, because this was my friend's chair, and she's the only one I really let do commission sales in my booth, because it's a lot of paperwork, and I don't like paperwork. But she is very helpful for me. She's been my friend for a long time. So I also take a commission on that too. So I get a little bit of that. I also sold a cake stand, and that went for $29.95. Probably paid less than $5 for it. There was some thread, like remember that sewing basket that I bought at that estate sale with all the threads and notions in it? Well, I packaged up different packages of things from that box and from that basket, and I sold bag of thread for $4.95, and then there's some other stuff that'll come along. There was a roll of fabric for $9.95. It was like a quilting pack roll. I sold an Afghan for $5. Now, I had purchased a bunch for $1, and most of them went for $10, but this one needed some help. It needed some sewing, so I put it for half price. Then I sold a purse for $19.95. I do like selling purses because I like purses. Then there was a cedar. This was a antique or vintage cedar, SEEDER, for I think it was either potatoes or corn. I have 2 of them in there, and one of them sold right away. Then I had a 3-tier basket stand that I purchased at Hobby Lobby, and it's been in my booth forever. And I always mark up to what Hobby Lobby prices charge, and then but I pay the 30% less. So somebody purchased that for, where is that, $89.95. So it was nice to sell that. Then I sold some stationery for $3.95. I guess that could go with ephemera. And then I had these columnar pads. I bought a box of paper stuff, and there was a bunch of these, and some of them are older, but they're the vintage column pads. I saw them selling on eBay for, I don't remember, $10, $20 or something. So I thought, well, I got a smaller audience, so I'm going to put the $4.95 on them. So I sold one of those. Then some more lace, $7.95 worth of lace. A thread grab bag from that sewing basket, $4.95. And then a cigar box for $5.95, which is funny because this was in the back of my one of my postcard drawers, and I used it to keep the postcards up because the drawer wasn't full. So somebody saw the cigar box in the back of the drawer and pulled it out and bought it. Just about everything has a price tag on it. But I thought that was hilarious that they found that at the back of the drawer and pulled it out. They must have really liked it. And the funny thing is, it's been sitting out in my booth forever in plain sight, but it took somebody to... I don't know. It's kind of funny the way these things go. All right. So then from that sewing basket, I also sold a bag of pins for $4.95. There's something about a fairy tale. I don't know what that is. I think that was a book, but I'm not sure. That was $4.95. Sold a set of green apple dishes. Those, again, have been in my booth for a long time, but they finally sold for $9.95. A tote bag for $17.95. I don't remember where that one is from. A manicure set is a vintage one. It's really cute in this cute little box. $8.95, and it was unopened, basically. I sold a spinning wheel, and I purchased this one at an auction last summer, and realized it was in an estate sale, and I already have 2 spinning wheels. I'm not spinning much, so I sold it for $175. Okay, and the last of 3 pages here, sold some linens for $6.95. 2 more column pads for $9.90. A sewing pattern for $4. That might become a category if we sell more, but I don't know. A photo album for $9.95, which I had taken all the photos out, sold the photos individually, and then sold the album individually. I also sold a clay pot for $32.95. I had purchased a lot of an online auction from Caring Transitions, and I paid $5 for the whole box. So that's been a good profit for me. There was a white bin, and I think it was something I bought at Hobby Lobby in clearance for maybe $5, and that went for $14.95. Another photo album sold for $7.95. And finally, a telephone. I don't know what that was, but it sold for $2.49. So that was 3 pages of sales, which is nice to see 3 pages. And another thing they do is they give me all my tags from the sales here. So if I have questions, I can go through there. And they do make up tags if there's things that they weren't sure about. So those were my sales for the month. And it came to a total of $1,384.59. And after sales commissions, which they take 10% off, and the credit card, if somebody uses a credit card, they charge it to me, then it came to $1,221.82. So if you're going to do the math on that, minus the booth fees, it's $926.82. And then let's say minus how much with a chair? Let's say $270. Okay, so then it brings my total down to $651.82, which is kind of where I like to be, minimally, because that covers my rent is covered, basically the cost of goods covered, and it gives me profit at that point. Now, you might think that's a lot of work for $651. I can't live on that, which is totally correct. I could not live on that income either, but this is not my sole income. And if I really wanted to branch out and make this my business, my sole business, then I would be going to other antique malls in our town and other towns surrounding, and I just don't have the energy. Between this and eBay, I'm able to make that balance work. And this month is tracking a little slower. I am at, June 20th, and so so far I've sold $645 worth out of my booth, which is tracking about the same amount. I liked about 300 every 10 days. I wish it was a little bit more, but the sales have been down a bit because of economy stuff. Summer we actually pick up, but with the recent flooding out here, I don't know if we're going to get as many tourists. So that is how I'm doing. Hopefully I'll get the next 300 in the next 10 days so I can have 3 times my rent, which is the minimum of what I like to do. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have questions below about this, and I hope you have a joyful day. Goodbye.